Hello everyone and welcome to another video of Minute MYP. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the digestive system. Now, I know this is a topic that you've probably already done in previous grades, but in this video, we're going to be going over everything you need to know from the perspective of the organs, the function, the glands, and the enzymes. So basically, this is an all-in-one video for the digestive system, and this is the part of your topic digestion in your syllabus. So let's start like we usually do by making a simple table. So here we'll have the digestive organ. Here we'll have its function. Here we'll have the glands that are associated with this organ, and then the enzymes. So let's get started then. First, we will take a look at the mouth. The mouth has two functions, one being mastication and one being chemical digestion. So the mouth really does two kinds of digestion: physical digestion, which is the mastication, and chemical digestion. How it does this is that mastication is essentially the use of the teeth to break down the food into smaller pieces. So, just a simple physical process of chewing the food. And chemical digestion starts with the saliva, and we'll see why in a bit. The glands associated in the mouth are salivary glands, and the enzymes in the mouth are amylase. And this is why I said chemical digestion, because saliva contains salivary amylase, which is an enzyme which breaks down complex carbohydrates in like starch into simple sugars. I think I spelled that wrong. My bad. Let me just fix this. Amylase. Right. So it breaks down complex carbs into simple sugars. So if I just write that, carbs to sugars. So complex to simple for the body to use. Now we're done with this. Let's move on to the next. Now we have the esophagus. The esophagus is a tube-like organ down which the food goes, and its specific function, where a key term is to be noted, is peristalsis. Peristalsis is a key term that you have to use when it comes to the esophagus, and it means the physical contraction of the walls of the esophagus that pushes the food down. So, for example, if I draw that, you can see that if this is the esophagus and the food is located here, if the esophagus pinches out a little bit, the food gets pushed downward to the esophagus. So essentially, this is going to be the contractions that push food down the esophagus and to the stomach from the mouth. And as for glands and enzymes, there are none, so we'll just write that. Now, let's proceed with the next organ. We have the stomach. In the stomach, we have, again, just like the mouth, mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. So mechanical digestion is by the contractions and the pushing of the stomach walls. Similar to the peristalsis, the physical movement of the walls breaks down the food particles, because you can think of it like the walls moving and colliding with the food particles again and again, essentially breaking them. And chemical digestion is with the help of the gastric glands or juices, which I'm just getting to. So the glands are, like I just mentioned, the gastric glands, and um, the enzymes that are released. In this one, we're not going to strictly talk about enzymes because we need to talk about gastric juices as well. So gastric juices are, let's say, gastric juices, basically they are produced by the gastric glands and they contain hydrochloric acid and an enzyme called pepsin. So HCl basically breaks down the food particles, and pepsin has the job of breaking down complex protein chains, so complex proteins, to smaller peptides that are absorbable by the small intestine and the body, and that they're usable by the body. So that's for the stomach, that's what you need to know. Remember, it does mechanical and chemical digestion. Now, if we go to the small intestine, arguably the one of the most important parts of the digestive system. In the small intestine, it is the main site for nutrient absorption. So all the nutrients in your food that are used to fuel your body are absorbed from the food in the small intestine. So site for nutrient absorption. And it's important to note that the small intestine has three parts. It's not just one. It has three parts, and those are called the duodenum, being the first part, duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. So the ileum. So those are the three parts of the small intestine that you need to remember, and its function that I just wrote. Now the glands are the pancreatic glands of the pancreas, and the bile duct. So these are not glands which belong to the small intestine. These are glands which secrete stuff that works inside the small intestine. But in the small intestine, the secretions of these two glands, which I'm just going to talk about, are key. So that's why I mentioned it. So going first with the pancreas and the pancreatic glands, we have the enzymes trypsin, lipase, and amylase. I think I have misspelled that again. I'll just fix that. Right. So, amylase. So, you have these three enzymes that you have to remember for the pancreas. Um, it produces, in the whole table, this is the one that's going to have the most number of enzymes. So, make sure to pay attention. So, trypsin is for proteins, just like pepsin. Lipase is for fats, and amylase is again for carbs. So it's a further digestion of carbs. First, it's going to be happening over here in the mouth, then it's going to be happening here yet again in the pancreas. There are additional functions we need to talk about and secretions in the pancreas, because the pancreas also secrete substances called bicarbonates. These are not an enzyme, not enzyme. These other three were enzymes. This is not an enzyme, but what it does is that it creates a less acidic environment and an optimal environment for the enzymes. Because if it's too acidic with too low a pH, the enzymes are not going to work and they will get denatured. So this essentially bicarbonates, they they participate in a neutralization reaction with the HCl from the stomach. So when the food comes from the stomach, it has acid coating it, and it's acidic. We call that acidic substance chyme. So I'll just write that here, chyme. So this is the acidic substance that comes from the stomach into the small intestine. And to make sure that it essentially is not so acidic, because otherwise the enzymes won't be able to work on it, bicarbonates are released, and bicarbonates neutralize the HCl on the food, on the chyme, and generally make the environment less acidic and optimal for the enzymes. So that's a really important point. Now, if we move on to the bile duct, the bile duct is basically it's in the liver, um, and the bile is produced in the liver, and it is secreted into the pancreas via the bile duct and the gallbladder. So it basically produces bile, and it's from the liver, from liver, and it goes from the liver through the bile duct. So the bile duct is just like a pipe, you can say, for which the bile can go, and the gallbladder, another important but small organ. The purpose of this is to emulsify fats. This is another key term, just like peristalsis, which you should note down. But emulsify means uh, breaking of the larger fat droplets. Let's say this is our droplet, and once it's emulsified, it's going to break down into my bad. It's going to break down into some smaller droplets. So essentially, that's what emulsification is, where the bile breaks down big droplets of fat into smaller ones. So that's it for the small intestine. Now we just have two more organs left. Those organs being, firstly, the large intestine. And the large intestine is simply for absorbing the water and the electrolytes, because all the nutrients have already been absorbed from the small intestine. So this absorbs the water in the food. So basically, our body is designed so nothing of use is wasted whenever possible. So it absorbs H2O. Remember, it does not absorb nutrients. That's the job of the small intestine. It only absorbs water and electrolytes. But water is the primary function. And then it also prepares, after it's absorbed all the water, it prepares feces to be excreted. And there are no glands and no enzymes. And then just following this, we have the rectum. The rectum's function is just to simply excrete the feces that the small intestine, that the large intestine, sorry, has produced. And again, obviously, no glands and no enzymes. So that is it for the digestive system in a wrap. And keep in mind that the order in which we went was exactly how the food travels down the digestive tract. So from here all the way down to here, it's the digestive tract order. So this is exactly how the food goes from our mouth and out of our body. So thank you for watching this video.